You know what it is? My camera is being used on YouTube. So.
It's okay. It's fine.
Okay, let's see. Let me try sharing this window. I want to share Zoom. Oh no, I'm just going to share my entire screen. I'm going to share my system. Got the magic mirror thing going on here. All right, so I can just do that, and I got 1,000 things on my screen right now. I want to hide this.
Yeah.
Hide that. I'm going to hide this. I got everything sitting on the screen now. Okay. So let's hide that too. All right, here we go. Are you ready to begin?
Yes. All righty. I'm going to hit the record button.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Yes.
All right. Welcome everyone who is watching this video later. We're so glad that you're joining us. My name is Kimberly. I have with me a loan officer, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah of Nexa Mortgage, and I'm glad you are watching this video. You're going to unwrap some possibilities.
There you go. Put your face in the corner. All right. Okay. All right. So today we're going to be talking about 5 creative ways to buy a home without a traditional mortgage. So there are some different loan products here that we're going to touch on. And then there are some ways that you can still use a regular mortgage, but maybe just in a more creative way.
Yes.
All right, so here's what we'll be doing today. Welcome and introductions. We'll talk about the traditional route and regular financing, a little overview of what creative financing is. 5 creative ways to buy a home plus a bonus. What to expect and how to prepare, and then Q&A if anyone joins in for that part. All right. So the first thing I want you to think about is, what is holding you back from buying right now? For a lot of people, it's credit score. And down payment. Maybe you don't feel like you have enough money saved. Whatever it may be. Maybe it's even just being nervous. If you're not sure if financially this is what you want, whatever the answer is, hopefully we can address some of those concerns today, and you'll walk away feeling a little more confident about your decision to buy a home, and you'll feel more empowered to actually start the process. Okay, here's a little bit about us. Again, my name is Kimberly. Here's my card, my contact information. I'm a realtor in Polk County, which is in Central Florida. I right now am working with a lot of home buyers, first-time home buyers especially. My goal is to get as many people into a home as possible so that you can start building wealth. Okay, so whatever your challenges are, bring them to me. I'm here to help. I'm here to guide you through the process as much as possible. You can absolutely text me or call me at that number right there on the screen. That's 863-272-9454. I will be the one to answer, and I look forward to helping you.
And I'm Sarah. I'm a local loan officer. I'm from Lakeland, Florida, which is Central Florida, but I do service all of Florida. And my goal is, just like Kimberly, to actually make dreams come true one loan at a time, and to get as many people in their dream home as possible, and to take the stress and somewhat of the fear out of the whole loan process. It's not as bad as you think.
All right. So, in case you're not familiar with the home buying process, here it is. First thing you do is find a realtor that you can trust. I know there are so many. I think in the state of
Mm-hmm.
Florida alone, there are 400,000 realtors.
Yeah,
So talk to someone you trust, look online, hire me. I'm
yes,
biased, but hire me. I'm great. But really, find someone you trust, talk to people look at maybe their social media, whatever you need to do to get a little more familiar with that person. Find someone who's going to do a great job at servicing you and making sure that you're taken care of. And then you're going to get pre approved. Before you look at even one single house, get pre approved. Your realtor will most likely have some trusted lenders, just like I have Sarah, who can help you get pre approved. Even if you are saying to yourself, my credit is horrible, I cannot buy a house right now, I already know that, I was denied for this or that, talk to a lender anyway, because what one lender was not able to do, perhaps another loan officer can help you through that process and guide you into the right direction. Not to mention, it tells you where you're at, so you
yes,
know what you need to do to improve your situation for wherever to actually buy a home. And then
exactly.
once you know how much money you have, we're going to tour homes. I'll make an offer. We'll go under contract. We'll make sure all the inspections and the appraisal get complete. Finalize your loan by giving Sarah all of those extra documents that she's going to ask for. And then we close on the home, and you're into your dream home, and that's that. But we're going to talk about some ways, especially some ways that maybe it'll be a little different from the regular process. A lot of people will use like a conventional loan or an FHA loan and just kind of do it the vanilla way and just get into a home. We're going to talk about some different ways you can get into a home that aren't your typical ways. All right. Let me get creative with this. All right, Sarah,
All
maybe you want to touch
right.
on this?
Yes, so we can use investments and retirement accounts for not just closing funds. We can also increase your income, which is called an annuity. So if you are running into the issue of your debt to income ratio being too high, you can use a retirement account or an investment to pull a monthly amount out to make more income. We can use that. We can also, of course, use your 401k or retirement accounts, investment accounts for down payment and closing funds. Sometimes it depends on how your 401k is structured. So check your terms. You can borrow against it. So you get a loan against your 401k. Again, check with whoever holds your 401k, check with your financial advisor what the terms are, because every 401k is a little bit different. We can use stocks, bonds, and yes, we can use crypto for down payments and closing costs, because cryptocurrency is just boiled down stocks and bonds. You sell them, turn it into quote unquote real money that you have in your account for your funds to close. We've done that before. It is not a big issue. It's easy peasy. So those are things that you might have not thought about on how to utilize those assets, especially your 401k as a income source versus just for down payments.
All right, seller or builder financing. So let's just put this out there before we even start talking about this. These are two kinds of financing where you really need to have a professional involved. You don't want to blindly just accept whatever is said or given to you, because
Mm-hmm.
you could end up with some very unfavorable terms that put you in a bad position.
Yeah.
However, these are options, and they are a way for you to get into a home, but you just need to be careful when you do this. Okay, so the first one is seller financing, and the seller essentially acts as the bank or the lender. You can get some very flexible terms here. You don't necessarily need to have you're not going to go through the same process that you would with a regular lender, right? But because of that, sometimes the terms of these contracts can be way more favorable to the seller than the buyer. Meaning, sometimes if you're not careful, you could end up with a contract where you, as the buyer, are paying the seller, but none of those payments are going toward the principal cost of your loan. They're not helping you get to ownership. So just be careful, get a lawyer if you do want to do seller financing so that you are protected in the situation. You also have different incentives and things that you can get from builders on new construction homes. A lot of times they'll offer rate buy downs, they'll offer closing cost credits, especially if they're really wanting to get rid of some houses and get move some of that inventory. But again, you need to be careful because sometimes they'll offer a temporary rate buy down, and you can end up maybe the first 2 years you have a lower payment, but in year 3 your payment goes up and suddenly you're stuck with this bill that you cannot afford, and then you need to move. And we don't want that for you. We want you to buy a house and be able to stay in the house as long as you want to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And on those builder incentives, because you have to use the in-house lender, but if you get denied by that in-house lender, but you get approved by an outside lender, the builder will still have to honor those closing cost credits that they like to offer, where they say, hey, we're going to give you X amount towards your closing costs. So you have to go to the builder's lender first. The builder's lender gives you a denial letter. Now you can go to an outside lender. If you get approved, you can come back and say, hey, your lender denied me, but the lender outside of the builder's lender approved me. I would still like to buy the home. The builder will have to honor those credits. So that's another way, because usually they tell you have to have X amount of credit, and you already know you don't have that credit score. Go ahead, try to get approved with that lender anyways. If they deny you, that opens you the door to use an outside lender and still get those closing cost credits.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. That's a great tip. So these options are good for buyers who need flexibility, or maybe you're short on upfront funds. Just be careful, but move smart so that you can benefit from it.
All right. Now, did you know you can finance your own down payment, and you could even finance your part of your closing costs? There are 2 programs. First, FHA 100. It is kind of like in the name, you're financing 100% of the loan. That means you are financing your own down payment. You finance, so 3.5% on FHA is your minimum down payment. You will finance 3.5%. That is going to be now your second mortgage. And FHA 100 has 2 options. The first one is you repay that second mortgage of the 3.5% over 10 years. That is automatically already built into your monthly mortgage payment. You don't have to make a second payment towards that. Or it is forgivable over the 10 years. Now it's pretty strict. You have to make 36 on-time payments, aka 3 years. You have to make your payment on time, never be late, never run short on the payment or whatever, and saying, hey, we'll catch it up towards the end of the month. On-time payments, and then you can say after the 36th payment is made, you can call your creditor or your mortgage servicer and say, hey, I made my payments for 36 months on time. Could you please forgive the second loan? They will look at your payment history, make sure you are making everything on time, and then they most likely will forgive it after the 3 years. If not, it does get forgiven over the 10 years, as long as you are making those on-time payments. But if you miss one payment, your 36 months just start over again. If you do refinance, or if you are going to sell before that term is over, obviously whatever is left of the amount of the second mortgage is going to be paid off with the sale or the refinance. Your credit score starts at a 580 with an AUS approval. You can buy a normal single family home. You can even buy a double wide mobile home. You can buy condos as long as they're FHA approved. And what I absolutely love about this, you can buy a multifamily. You can buy a duplex where you can live in one side, rent out the other side, and make some income. Absolutely love it. And a big bonus point to both of those, there is no income cap. Versus other down payment assistance programs, they have a certain income cap. These two do not. FHA 5% is super easy to understand as well. You are going to finance 5% of your, it's an extra 5% of your loan. Now you use that for your down payment, the 3.5%. Now you have 1.5% left over that you can use for your closing costs and prepaids. Now, if you ask for some extra seller credits, you might only pay for an appraisal, and that's it. This one, you will have only one option, and that is paying that second mortgage back over 10 years. Again, it's rolled into your monthly mortgage payment, no extra payments. And again, if you refinance or sell before the 10 years are over, the leftover balance gets taken care of by the refinance or by the sale of your home. And now, the second mortgage is just 2% higher in the rate than your actual 30-year mortgage. That's just for argument's sake. Your 30-year mortgage is 5% for the rate. Your second mortgage is going to be 7%. And it is honestly not a lot compared to what you might think that this is going to cost you thousands of dollars extra a month. We'll be just putting you some scenarios together so you can see it could be as little as $100, $120, depending on the loan amount. And there are no prepayment penalties. If you get a nice tax return, you can go ahead, pay that second mortgage off and don't have to worry about that extra $180 payment or whatever the payment may be monthly, and save yourself some money. So those two are actually great programs to finance your own down payment. There is no having to jump through hoops with homebuyer certifications that also can cost you. There is no income cap. And again, a 580 minimum credit score with an AUS approval. That is it on this one.
Which then this brings us into our next one. And I've got to move
house hacking.
House hacking, yes. So after you get one of those special FHA loans, you can go ahead and find yourself a multi-unit property to live in, right? That is one way, one creative way you can buy a home, especially if you find yourself needing to add more income to your situation. So if you were to find a multi-unit property, you could live in one unit and rent out the other unit. So let's say you find a triplex, right? You've got 3 different units that you can live in. You live in one, rent out 2 others, and now those 2 rentals add to your income, which means you can afford a little more house than you did before. This could also work if, for example, you have a main house and then perhaps in the backyard, there's a smaller unit that's completely separate from the home. So it doesn't have to be attached. But this is one way you can offset your mortgage costs or even cover it at the very least, let's say you're renting out an efficiency in your backyard for $1,000, $1,200 a month. That's $1,200 a month that you don't have to pay towards your mortgage. I mean, I can imagine if you're renting right now, or if you have a mortgage, just imagine $1,000 less pay that you would have to pay. Imagine what you could do with that extra $1,000 in your pocket instead of going to the bank. So it's something you should definitely consider. Like we already said, there are FHA loans that will allow for you to actually put money down on a duplex and move in. You can use an FHA loan for this as long as you live in the property. So if you would like to become a homeowner and an investor at the same time, this is a really great move for you, because once you're ready, you could move out of that one unit that you're living in and you can rent that one out too. And now you've automatically got an investment property. You've already started to build equity in it, which means you've started to build wealth, and all you were doing was living your life as you normally would. All right, what's next? We've got CRA.
CRA. So CRA properties, aka Community Reinvestment Act. Now, these are specific areas. These are only new constructions. You will not find them in a gated community. You probably won't find them right downtown Lakeland either. But there are some properties that are owned by the city or the county because somebody passed away, nobody wanted it, and it's just sitting there. That is a lot of the times how the county or the city gotten those, or it just got abandoned. And instead of the vacant lots just getting ran down, overgrowing, and just maintaining the grass so it doesn't look horrible, the city and the county decided they are going to sell these to builders for a really cheap price. And to make this even more attractive, they attach a certain amount. So I know Bartow in the last few years, they always attached about $15,000 to the lot. So how this works, a builder buys that, the builder is going to apply for that down payment assistance through the city for the CRA lot. They get accepted. Now the city attaches, just for argument's sake, the $15,000 to the lot, not the borrower, nobody else. The lot itself. All you have to do is buy the house. All you have to do, because the builder already applied for it, they approved that down payment assistance. It is attached to the property, not a person. And all you have to do is buy the house, and you automatically are going to get that payment towards your cash to close and your prepaids. So again, I'm just taking the city of Bartow because I've worked with them before, and they just usually have $15,000 attached to their lots. And there is no home buyer class you have to go through. There is no extra paperwork for you to do other than put your offer in, get it accepted, close on your loan, and now you have $15,000, again, just for argument's sake, because that's what it always used to be with Bartow, that is going to be applied towards your cash to close and prepaids, even your down payment. So you can buy the rate down as low as you want. It's going to take care of your closing costs. You might just come to closing again with just your appraisal, because that's an upfront cost before the appraisal goes out. So you have to pay that out of pocket. I've had a client, she brought $2 to closing. Bought a house in the CRA and brought $2 to closing. And that has been out 2.5 years ago, but that was really, really, really nice. She just paid the appraisal and then had only to bring $2. That was absolutely beautiful, and she got a brand spanking new home. There is no income cap, again, on those. So that I always say this is the closest thing to free money that's out there. It's again a silent second mortgage, just like every down payment assistance program is. You make no payments on it. Within 5 years, it is going to fall off. If you decide to refinance or sell before those 5 years are over, which you can, you do not have to live in it 45 years, then whatever is left over on that second mortgage gets taken care of by either refinance or by the sale of your home. So again, this is the closest to free money you will find. Sorry about that. I'm sticking to that statement. But if you do look at the CRA and you find a new build, make sure that that builder had applied and got approved for that CRA down payment assistant money. I've seen a few which didn't do it and thought it was just something automatically by the city, and that was a bad surprise. So do your homework on those for sure. But again, I do love that program, and I absolutely love Bartow for doing that. So
it's definitely a great program. I wish I could have gone to the table with $2 when it was time for me to close.
They give me $2, good lady.
All right, so there is still an approval process for a lot of these strategies that we talked about, all of them really. You still need to have your paperwork in order. The lender is still going to need to look at all of your key financial documents, things like tax returns or
W-2s.
W-2s. If you're a business owner or 1099, you may need to bring a profit and loss sheet. Whatever would typically be needed to be approved, you'll still need those things for these strategies that we talked about. But these strategies can give you an upper hand or fill in the gaps where maybe you need some extra help. The most important thing for you to do is to prepare. So talk to your realtor, talk to your lender, and strategize, because maybe now is not a good time to buy that car. Maybe you shouldn't open another credit card. Maybe it's not a good time to start that business or to quit your job or change careers. If you know you want to buy a house, you got to talk to some professionals, because we can definitely tell you some things that you want to avoid and some things that you should do so that you can prepare to buy your home and do it successfully.
Yes.
Okay, so now question is, and you can put these in the comments below the video, comments on Facebook, wherever you may be seeing this right now. Which option surprised you the most? Which option surprised you the most? And if you want, you can also tell us which option is your favorite. I know for me, I think the most surprising one to learn about was the CRA. Because that is, like you said, that's practically free money. If you plan to stay in your home for 5 years at least, that's free money that you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about finding $15,000 or around that.
Yeah,
it could be more or less depending on where you're looking.
Absolutely. I think it's the least known one, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's the least known one. Yes.
I also like the FHA 100 option. That's very interesting, to be able to finance the entire deal. Really.
Yes, the down payment. Yes, and especially that it is forgivable. And I do like, if you need a little extra, the 5% where your down payment is financed, and then you have the 1.5% left over that you're financing your closing costs.
Yeah.
that does help a lot. 1.5% doesn't sound like a lot, but 1.5% of, let's say, $250,000 is a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
Yes, it is. That will definitely take a chunk out of your closing costs. And if you have
Yes.
a good situation and a good realtor to negotiate for you, you can get some seller credits, and
Mhm.
you may end up not having to pay any closing costs at all.
Perfect.
All right, so that's it for this portion of our video. If you have some questions and you're not live here with us now, you can drop them in the comment section. You can message us. We'll gladly answer your questions. Set up a one-on-one consultation. We'll be glad to talk to you about your specific situation and help you get a better understanding of where you're at, what you need to do to get to your goals.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, and with that, I'm going to stop sharing somehow. Stop. And I'm going to end the live.
All right. Thank you.
Recording stopped.
We had like 3 minutes to spare.